So overall, Tanner, season 2 patch notes.
W Raven.
Yep.
W season so far.
W
Massive
season, W
I would
Raven.
say. Even with me being let down by Fortune's Keep, I'm sure a lot of people enjoy it. Good for you. I'm having a blast this season. I think it's very fun. Just the little things, yeah, like changing the locations of the buy stations.
Activision devs do not play their own game.
3,000 devs can't figure out how to add a reconnect feature to a AAA title, I guess. I don't know.
Because Infinity Ward doesn't tell their consumers anything.
Maybe that'll take some of the sweats away from Shoot House.
You can cope about that, for sure.
Thanks for tweeting, at least. Thanks for doing more than Infinity Ward has done. They just keep tweeting about the soccer bundles in the store.
Things that are bad. We got a couple words. Why don't you kick it off, Tanner?
This is going to be a longer section than the first part you guys heard.
Change it, obviously, of course. We are live. Boys and girls, welcome to the Dropshot Call of Duty Podcast, episode number 399. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon, also known as a controller expert, and I will be in the CDL next year. Or the end of this year, I should say. And today we have an episode for you, and Tanner's joining me for this episode.
Yeah, got an app. That's what they're
How's
saying.
life?
Good. How's yours, man?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Nice.
I've been, as I just said, I've been using the controller. I'm going to be like Huskers and it's _iron, and I'm going to switch to controller. That's the plan.
Clip it
and ship it. Yeah. So I've been using a controller since the launch of this season, which has been a fun little experiment. I haven't used controller in basically 15 years. However, I did do a little brief excursion during MW2 with a controller that some of you who have been around for a while may have remembered, but that lasted like 3 days, and then I was bored of it. And I never tried playing Warzone either. But that's because MW2 was a awful game, and it wasn't fun. So this time around, I am very confident that at least until Season 2 Reloaded, every time I play the video game, I'm just going to make myself use a controller.
Really?
And that way, this podcast will have a better perspective on the keyboard and mouse versus aim assist debate or conversation. And I think that'll be good.
The never-ending debate, yeah.
And by the way, my opinion on everything I've ever said about controller has not changed at all. It's been reinforced strongly having used a controller for the past, 2 days.
Did you drop 20 yet?
Haven't dropped 20 yet, but I'm getting close. I'm just about a factor of 10 off.
Okay. I meant 20 total since you started playing yesterday morning. In
Oh
Warzone.
yeah. Many.
Dropped 20 total kills.
Many kills. So many kills. Yeah. So anyways, welcome to the show. Today we will not be talking about that, but in the future, I think perhaps on a slow Saturday, not soon, like next month or the month after maybe, but if we get like a little slow Saturday and I've gotten more comfortable on controller, I think an episode on the 2 inputs may be warranted. And I know I was alluding to this again last year when I tried it, but unlike last time, I'm very confident this time I'll at least use it until Season 2 Reloaded and then reevaluate. But, we've got Husker switching, Iron, Jake from our community switching, Cope Cowboy from our community switching. By the way, as we were talking about in the pre-show, Cope Cowboy had used keyboard and mouse his whole life for video games, including when Warzone launched, has played Warzone since Warzone launched, and then he switched to controller 3 weeks ago, and he got his best game ever on controller inside of 3 weeks with only 3 weeks of practice on controller because he never used one before, even though before that he had been playing on keyboard and mouse for thousands of hours. It took him 3 weeks to break his records on a controller, but they're totally balanced. Aim assist is totally balanced. Super interesting.
He could barely get through a door at week 2, but he was still dropping 20 bombs. He was running into walls and stuff, but he was getting a lot of kills. Yeah, it's pretty funny how that worked, but yeah.
Yes.
Very fun.
Right. Yeah, very fun. So, spoiler alert. I mean, we've already said it all, but anyway, whatever. That wouldn't be for a while anyway. So today, we're not talking about that. That'll be down the line. Today, we're talking about Season 2. We got the patch. We got the notes. We got the experiences. We've got the hidden patch notes. We've got some data from James God as well. And there's a lot to talk about. So before we get into that, a couple of quick announcements. Oh, yeah, and then I will be joining the CDL because I'm very close to being an expert on controller. So next year I'll be in the CDL and I'll do an episode on that as well. I know you guys will enjoy that because it's not hard. Before that, couple announcements. First of all, Dr. Cloud, our newest Damascus patron with the absolute upgrade. We appreciate that, Dr. Cloud. Very kind of you and welcome aboard, buddy. Change it also. Our newest Damascus patron, our upgrader. He loved our bonus content so much he wanted more of it. Makes sense. Welcome aboard, buddy. We appreciate you. And we also got another new patron who also wanted to go Damascus, but he wanted to save some money, so he went annual Damascus instead and got a discount of 12 or 16%, whichever it is. It's the highest we allow, or Patreon allows, for annual discounts. Project Reaper also changed it. Going straight to annual Damascus, an absolute Chad. Welcome aboard, Bruther. We appreciate it. And to both of you boys, thank you very much. Patreon.com/the Dropshot. Now, speaking of the Patreon quickly, as we've said, haven't done any bonus eps yet because we were waiting for Season 2, but we've gotten it. So you can expect some bonus episodes coming out next week. And in the meantime, all of our patrons will continue to enjoy ad-free episodes and early access episodes as well. So that is what is on the agenda this month. Now, for Saturday, it will be episode 400, which is a milestone landmark achievement. It's a round number. It's an even number. And some of you have been asking if we're going to do a big blowout celebration. Here's what we'll do. If we get 400 or more United States dollars in donations while live for episode 400, Tanner and I will break open an alcoholic beverage or two.
It's at noon though, man.
Or 4. Yeah, that's true. It would be a sacrifice. But I would be willing.
It would be a sacrifice. Yeah.
I would be willing to put my liver on the line for the people's enjoyment.
Yeah. Interesting.
And if not, then it will proceed as a normal assed episode, in which we do Season 2 first impressions.
Yeah.
That's what's on the agenda.
I've got a lot of impressions too. A lot of them.
We've got a lot.
Millions.
Well, don't say that. Episode 500, we will do something like special, probably. But 400 is not. I mean, it's not that. It's a weird number to be like, oh, let's celebrate. Episode 100 makes sense. 300 sort of makes sense. 500, that makes sense.
I don't think we did anything for 300 either, though. I think that's the thing.
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
Yeah,
I think we did something for 100 and 200, and then not 300 or not 400. But yeah, I mean, if every viewer that day wants to give us $400, I'm not going to say no to it, of course, but you know.
We don't have anything to crazy get 400 planned. Or more United States dollars in donations, obviously.
From each viewer, yes, from each viewer.
That's
but yeah, it's gonna
yeah,
nothing planned though. We're just gonna talk about the vidgy game.
Yeah. So just to answer that question, and then other than that, if you were listening for the jingle, here it is.
Oh, it's playing, man!
Wow,
you did it.
I did it.
There are too many patch notes, man.
Yeah, we're gonna
have to fly through these.
Yeah, we're gonna do a breeze.
We're breezing. Wow.
Call me a breezy.
A Beezy? You're the next Abeezy. You're the next CDL player. Is Abeezy good?
I know his name, so probably.
Biffle's still better. Husker's better. FIFA Kill better.
I mean, I'll be better in like 2 weeks once I get used to the controller, so. All right! Today, Dropshot, episode 399, season 2. So, we've got some patch notes to fly through, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to fly through them. As they have been doing recently, they have split these into multiplayer and then also Warzone. So we're going to likewise cover them in that fashion, starting with multiplayer.
Multiplayer and blog post.
Well, that's what they say, yeah. But we're done talking about.
Yeah.
Because that mode's not fun and no one should play it unless they want the camo
dead.
or skins.
It's officially dead.
It is dead,
It's a dead mode. Yeah, they killed it.
I saw a tweet where someone was like, man, they didn't do for this season. F's in the chat for the game mode. And I was like, yeah.
Well, it's because some dev literally tweeted like a month ago and he's like, can't wait for everyone to see what we're cooking up for in season 2.
Yeah.
And since then, people started retweeting it and commenting, and he made it so you can't comment on it anymore.
Oh no!
No, his account went private. He privated his account too.
Bro, privated the account. Oh
yeah,
no.
He got roasted hard. So
yeah,
that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, not terribly.
Maybe they did have stuff planned, and then it got scrapped. Who knows?
I'm sure they did.
Yeah, because he's not going to tweet that if like literally he thought nothing was going to happen. Like he's not just going to lie about that. So maybe his stuff got scrapped or pushed back so they have more content later.
They probably just expected the current amount of content to take players longer to do, so that by the time season 2 came around, they'd still be playing and then they would release a bunch of new content. But that didn't happen. People finished all of the content on day 1, and then the player numbers plummeted. So then the, dev heads were like, we can't justify this. We can't justify spending all this time. Anyway, whatever. So yeah, anyway, we're going to start with this. So yeah, this is called multiplayer patch notes. This is going to be the majority of the patch notes though, and a lot of this will apply to Warzone as well. There is a separate set of patch notes that they call Warzone patch notes, which are obviously the Warzone exclusive changes, but a lot of the general changes obviously apply to Warzone as well. So this might look like or sound like it's going to take longer than Warzone or whatever, but that's because most of this is going to apply to Warzone also. So.
Oh yeah, they have all the weapon balancing in there, huh?
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. So here we go.
Patch notes are short, actually.
Yeah. That's how it was last time as well. So, all right. So welcome to season 2. Lots of words, big words, new maps. So we got 3 new Sixes maps. And then I think we're getting DOS House mid-season. So we've already talked about this. Not really going to go over it much more. Stash House, Vista, and Departures are in the game now. I have not played Vista nor Departures. However, I have played Stash House a lot. and we will talk more about it on Saturday with our first impressions. Hopefully I will have played the other two by then, although I wouldn't love lobby shopping for them, so we'll see. But my first impressions of Stash House, I don't love it, but I've also been playing on controller, so maybe that's why. I might like it more if I was playing on an input I was comfortable with. However, the spawns are not great, which isn't that surprising because it's a new map and it's very small, so they never get the spawns right when they first launch a map that way. And also, there are some nasty little camp spots that people have. However, everything I've been seeing in our own community, in our Discord, has been rave reviews. People really like it. I don't hate it or anything. It's just I feel like I have been getting shot in the back or just exploding to random stuff all the time, which I guess does happen on other small maps like Shipment. That's fair. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
It's just a way better Shipment. Yeah, that's all it is. It's a way better version of Shipment. I think it's really fun. I like it. It looks cool. It's a cute little space for a map, a little stash house. They had the Breaking Bad pizza on the roof. Somebody pointed out in our Discord. Somebody screenshotted that.
Oh, really?
There's the pizza on the roof.
Yeah,
so that's kind of cute. But yeah, it's a fun little map. I mean, there's not too much to say about it. It's a small, chaotic map, but I like it way better than Shipment. I actually find it a pretty playable map. I went on an 18 kill streak my second time playing it.
Yeah.
Sat in one of the corners, kept killing everyone. It was nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's got a lot more depth than Shipment does. Shipment's just such a basic, silly map.
It's also dark, hard to see. They ruined it because it's at night for some reason. Stash House is pretty. It's a cool layout. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Better flow, I think.
I think the more fair comparison is Stash House versus Meat. I think those are more similar. Meat is bigger than Stash House. Maybe?
Yeah.
But not by much. They're both
Stash House
maps.
is pretty similar to Shipment size. It's closer to Shipment size than it is Meat, I'm pretty sure. It's tiny, man. It's just you don't get spawn killed as often because there are more things in the corners.
I don't know which it's closer to.
Spawn killed.
Yeah. Either way, whatever.
It's fun. I like it.
Yeah, it's in the game and people like it, so that's good. So yeah, maybe we'll talk about the other two more, but yeah. The new war map is also in the game. Again, yeah, we'll talk about this on Saturday. I don't have much to say about it now, so we'll talk about it more then.
I played it once and only saw the first area, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. So I'll play it again and try to actually win. There are new modes. Yep, whatever. New weapons. Okay, so we'll start with the new weapons. So we've gotten 2 already, and then we're going to get 2 mid-season. So the 2 we've gotten are the BP-50 and the Ram-9. So the BP-50 is an assault rifle. I just unlocked it. I haven't used it yet. And it is pretty solid. I've used it a lot as ground loot, actually, in Warzone. It seems fairly unremarkable in terms of ARs. It's just another AR. In multiplayer, I don't know what its TTK or stats really are, but it seems definitely viable, just like kind of any other AR would be. I would say it's a little on the faster handling side in terms of all the ARs in this game. And that does make it more attractive for multiplayer, but I haven't used it yet in multiplayer, so I'll have more to say on that at that time. But I think we have some data on these guns
for Warzone, yeah.
For Warzone, yeah. But before we get into that, any BP-50 thoughts?
I don't have it either. I would have it, I think, if I have been able to get the battle pass earlier, probably. But then actually no, because then I decided to not get the battle pass with the tier skip, so it wouldn't have mattered actually. But I'm 2 away from unlocking the Ram 9. I haven't even gone the BP-50 direction yet.
Okay, yeah. So then the other new gun is the Ram 9. This one I have used. I unlocked this a while ago. Not max level or anything yet. It's very good in multiplayer. It's got great irons. It's very fast handling, very fast fire rate. It has a default mag of 32, which usually means its extended mags are going to be like 40, but it has a 50 round extended mag option, so that's good as well. And by all accounts, it is very good. Even in multiplayer, it's really solid. It's a fast fire rate, fast handling SMG. Of course, that's going to be good in multiplayer. With the damage values it has as well, which are, normal for SMGs. Yeah. So it's very good in multi. In Warzone, we do have some additional data on these new weapons as well. So let's talk about the new weapons data.
Yeah, you want to look at it now? Okay. Yeah, so JGod did some testing on the BP50 and the Ram 9. So starting with the BP50 here, competitive. So the biggest downside is it has a 45 round mag maximum instead of like a 50 or 60. So that's definitely the downside right away. And the RPM is 857. So that's a pretty high RPM for only having a 45 round mag. So that's what's going to hold it back, if anything. Standard time to kill is like around 630 milliseconds in that first damage range. Second damage range, like 700 or so. So it's nothing. I mean, it that is a good time to kill. But it's kind of just that mag holding it back, I think, from being the absolute meta gun. And Ram got a nerf, which we'll talk about when we get to Warzone, the specifics. Yeah. But I feel like maybe the Ram is just better still because it's so hard to miss shots with that gun.
Yeah.
It also seems like this gun doesn't have a good damage range, right?
I don't.
14 meters? Is he testing that at the first damage range with no attachments? I guess he is.
I would assume so.
That's
14
not
meters. 14 meters with no attachments is pretty bad for an AR, it seems like. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Nobody has stats on these yet, so I can't look.
Yeah, we'll probably have more info by Saturday, but I have not seen anyone in my very sweaty Warzone lobbies using this as like a primary, so my suspicion is
I'm confused.
It is not very good for Warzone in terms of like Warzone primary AR. Maybe as like sniper support, this could be really good because it does have that's a pretty good fire rate for an AR and a very good fire rate and good handling as well. So like if this was going to be anything, I would say in Warzone anyway, I would say it's like a sniper support, but even then there might be better options. I don't really know. But yeah, I do not see this ever being the long range meta gun because the ways in which they would have to change this gun to make it like long range meta, I don't see them doing, frankly. It just doesn't, it doesn't have the range. And I also don't know what its recoil is like either. I haven't like used it with max attachments or anything, but again, given the lobbies we've been in, if this was meta, and I've been watching streams too. If this was meta, I would have seen a single person using it, and no one is. So, yeah.
I agree. I haven't seen too many people using it at all. So, like, yeah, according to this, at like 30 meters or so, this is killing, say you're doing chest shots only, like 770 milliseconds, or probably about like 800 milliseconds. And I guess the Ram, before its recent nerf, was doing like 680 at 30 meters. So
yeah, that's a lot better.
Doesn't sound like it's I don't know, but I've yet to use it. We'll talk about it more on Saturday. I'm sure True Game Data will have actual stats by then.
Yes. And then the Ram 9 on the other hand.
Ram 9 is that's up there. Very fast time to kill. So like in that first damage range there, say you're doing chest shots or so, 10 meters, 585 milliseconds. Sub 600 millisecond time to kill is very good for an SMG. And if you mix in one headshot out of the 10 shots it's going to take to kill, it's going to drop that down to 520.
Yeah.
That's a very fast time to kill.
Yes.
So that's going to be extremely competitive. That's definitely in the meta. Again, though, I feel like I've seen the RAM and I've died to it. I've used the ground loot quite a bit, but yeah, I don't have it unlocked. But again, I feel like not too many people are using either of these guns yet.
I have seen a couple Ram 9s, but yeah, not like a ton yet, but it's still probably because the season is early. Unlike the BP50, I think this is going to become absolute meta. 923 RPM is like very forgiving. 50 round mag is enough. The handling seems to be very fast, although people in chat are saying it has a slow sprint to fire, similar to an AMR 9. That's interesting. If it's too similar to an AMR 9, that means it's pretty freaking slow, which kind of ruins it. But like using it in multiplayer, it seems not bad, but I actually wouldn't notice it as much in multiplayer. So I don't know. That is interesting, but the time to kill is really fast. And it's got a decent first damage range too. 10 meters with no attachments. With a barrel and a suppressor, you could probably push that out to like, I don't know, 14 maybe. So that's attractive as well.
10's, yeah. I mean, 10's lower than most of the SMGs in this game by base. Usually they're like 11 to 12, even out to 14. So 10's a little bit less actually, but I mean, still pretty decent.
Yeah,
still better than like MW2
very
SMGs
often
that were like 8 or 7. Yeah.
So, but if the sprint to fire is that bad, then that might hold it back a lot. Yeah. So we'll see how that unfolds. But if I were to advise any of you who play Warzone to level a gun, do the Ram 9 first for sure. I don't see the BP50, frankly, ever being meta. It's just like it has that sniper support archetype, so that even if they do buff it, they're not going to buff it in a way that makes it a good primary option, I don't think. But I could be wrong, but either way, those are what we have so far, and those are both out now. So yeah, there you go. And then we're getting other ones mid-season. We should know more by Saturday in terms of how they'll fit into the meta or whatever. But for multiplayer, again, they're both absolutely usable. So there you go. Next is new aftermarket parts. We've gone over all of these as well. Yeah. From the blog post. The week 1 reward aftermarket part, so the only one you can use now, is the 7.62 conversion kit for the longbow. The Jack Tyrant 7.62. So yeah, it makes it a harder hitting subsonic weapon. Again, like I said in the episode where we went over the blog post, if this just makes it a more generous one-hit kill in multiplayer, which is exactly what it sounds like it does, this is absolutely worth using, and could make this really gross in multiplayer. Really gross. If I was doing camos, I would use this, or at least try it. Unless the downsides are catastrophic, which I don't think they are. This is worth an attachment. It hurts the
fire rate. It hurts the fire rate, but if it's a bolty and it's one tapping, then it doesn't really matter if it still has the same like mobility as the default longbow. Right. It also probably going to have a lot less velocity, I would imagine. I think when they do subsonic ammo, that's a pretty bad velocity typically.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's worth looking into. Yeah. I haven't looked into it myself, but it's worth looking into if you're like playing with this in multiplayer, trying to do camos or something. Because again, if it's harder hitting, that the longbow already can one shot in multiplayer, but you have to hit like neck or head. So if that makes it upper torso, neck or head, or stomach, upper torso, neck or head, then that seems super worth using. So there you go. The new perk, the Ninja Vest. So one thing that they did not say in the blog post is that when you're using the ninja vest, which we were saying was overpowered, you can't use gloves. So it is balanced, because not having gloves is a pretty big downside. The upside is you can get silent footsteps plus tactical pads or a different set of boots. It frees up a covert sneakers slot, but you cannot use gloves with the ninja vest. I tested it this morning.
Yeah, I thought the blog post like literally said what you can use with it. I thought that
too. That's why I was so surprised.
They 100% did, because we talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely said that at some point.
Yep. So either the blog post was wrong or it's not working in game right now, but you can't use gloves with the ninja vest. If I had to guess, they just got the blog post wrong, because if you could also use gloves like we were saying in the blog post, that sounds overpowered. So yeah, keep in mind, don't rush the ninja vest or anything. You'll lose your glove slot, which I think is quite important, because I always run commando gloves to reload while sprinting. And in multiplayer, I think that's really, really handy. And I would rather have that than tactical pads, basically, which is what the calculus comes down to for me in multiplayer.
Yeah.
But it's in the game, so there you go. It's not overpowered. New operators, don't care. New events, don't care. Global gameplay. Okay, so here's the first big patch note. So they write a lot of words, big words. And here is the first, as I said, patch note that's really substantive. And a lot of people are talking about this for good reason. ADS idle sway. While a player is aimed down sight, idle sway is active. This mechanic discourages players from holding their sights for an extended period of time with a constant, subtle motion that introduces slight inaccuracy. ADS idle sway now initiates shortly after aiming down sight rather than immediately, introducing a delay to the sway curve that is generally 5 milliseconds long, but varies by weapon. Sniper rifles are not included in this change. After the initial delay, ADS idle sway now gradually increases over a 3-second period before reaching peak speed, rather than beginning at full speed upon aiming down sights. Again, sniper rifles are not included in this change. And then ADS idle sway now consistently begins from the position of the player's hipfire crosshair rather than along the sway curve. These changes ensure that players with fast reflexes and precise aim aren't disadvantaged the moment they ADS. So this is tackling one half of the problem that True Game Data had pointed out and we had covered in a fairly recent episode with respect to, again, idle sway and how it works in this game and how it worked in MW2. And the big TLDR problem there was, there were a lot, but one of them was the center of your screen is not where your reticle always is, nor is it always where your bullets will go as a result of that. And that's a really weird mechanic that no other FPS game does, because it's a bad thing to do. And it has a lot of externalities that are annoying and weird feeling and bad, for the reasons they explained here. We went over that in great detail whenever we covered True Game Data's episode. If you want to get the background, you can go listen to that, but it doesn't really matter now because they basically addressed everything. This is half of that problem that True Game Data had pointed out that they have now just like gotten away from, except for snipers, which is kind of weird, but yeah. And then moving on, this will make more sense here. Hipfire crosshair sway. They write more words. Hipfire crosshair will no longer sway from the center of the screen while the player moves or rotates the camera. We're aware that certain stock attachments may reintroduce this behavior. This is unintentional, and we will correct these artifacts in future updates. Weapon bullet trajectory is now truly aligned with the hipfire crosshair, and thus the center of the player's screen.
Wow.
These changes reward skillful aim. Simply put, where you're aiming is where your bullets will go. So these two things in conjunction make it so that is exactly the case. Again, it was possible before this update that that an enemy was in the center of your screen, but your reticle was like an inch to the left, and if you shot your gun, your bullets would be going to your reticle, which was an inch to your left, which was off center of your screen, which felt very weird and very difficult to use and very foreign because no other FPS game did this ever. And this is one of those things, again, that affected keyboard and mouse a lot more than controller for a variety of reasons. But they've fixed all of it, and now the game feels normal, which is really good. And it does affect controller players as well, but it's just more obvious on keyboard and mouse. So keyboard and mouse should see a lot more consistency, and a lot of people on the timeline are very happy about this. And then they say, looking ahead, please take some time to adjust to these changes and let us know how you feel. We'll continue to monitor feedback. So I have not played on keyboard and mouse since this update, but you have, Tanner. Have you noticed any difference?
No, of course not. This obviously it should be the case that your bullets are tied to the center of your screen in a game like Call of Duty always. But this was something I never personally noticed. I know all the sweats talked about it. I could see this being a noticeable change if you're a multiplayer player and all you do is like flick from one target to another. Like those guys that make their whole videos based on them just target switching quickly.
Yeah.
In multiplayer. That I get, because as you're switching and you're moving that fast from straight to your left, by the time your iron sight is on the guy directly left, your bullets are still not hitting there because the sway is making it so the bullets are not hitting the center of your screen. Correct. At that point when you move that quickly. So it would be noticeable for people like that. But me personally, I never once felt like that was off at all. So it felt good to me. Like, obviously these changes are great. It's nice now that you can ADS and you don't have sway immediately. My thing though too, maybe why I haven't noticed it is I've been sniping and none of these changes apply to snipers.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
So that's probably the biggest thing. There was one time when I had to hip fire because I got caught. I got pushed by a guy, and I hip fired a ground loot gun. I think it was a Ram, and I was like, okay, I don't know what it was, but that hip fire just felt better, and it felt like all my bullets actually just hit the guy. It felt very weird. Yeah, I'm like, it looked like it was spreading further or something, but still all of the bullets hit the guy. So, I mean, that could have just been the way it felt to me. Who knows? But, I mean, these are great changes, don't get me wrong, but it's not something that the average player ever noticed anyways. So,
yeah. Or at least didn't consciously notice. If you guys feel like you're...
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you guys feel like your hit reg has suddenly gotten better, there is a reason for that. These are good changes, whether you, like, notice them or not. I will also add, one thing where I really noticed not having this change was my tac stance WSP swarm build. I would ADS, tac stance ADS or whatever, and start shooting. And my reticle, I'm not kidding, would be a solid inch or more up left from the center of my screen in tac stance. It was like a joke. It was hilarious. And it was weird. It was very hard to aim because I'm trying to aim a reticle that is way off the center of my screen. And it happened every single time with my tac stance WSP swarm. So if I were to go back and use that, I would notice this a ton, because instead of my reticle drifting up and left, my whole camera would be, which would make it way easier to aim, because that's how video games, FPS games work and have always for except in this game. So like there are ways in which it could be very noticeable, but regardless, this is a good change and it's good for everyone. Ooh, and we're happy to see that. And people on the TL are very happy about it as well, which makes sense.
More than anything, like, huge shout out to Sledgehammer and Raven, and probably more Sledgehammer, for actually looking into this and fixing this. Because this was for sure a thing in Modern Warfare 2 also, and Infinity Ward never looked into it. They don't care.
Yeah, of course.
They don't look into any of that stuff. But True Game Data made that video, bringing awareness to this problem. Sledgehammer responded. They're like, okay, we're looking into it to see if we can find anything wrong. And even I said back then, I'm like, they're never going to change anything. Wow. And they did. They did. Like, so pretty drastic change, from that perspective of something that they would look into like that and actually change. I'm shocked. So, good for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Making changes based on, a
player feedback
that somebody pointed out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Take notes, Infinity Ward. Awful dev studio.
Yeah. Dev studio in air quotes.
Yeah. Before we move
further, work they had to do, by the way, just to clean up iDubbbz's mess, because none of this would have been in the game if this weren't the same engine as the MW2 engine. That's the only reason all these things are in here, because iDubbbz wanted to do it for reasons that I'll never understand, and they don't understand either. They don't even know why. They don't even know that they did it, probably, but they did it. And then it was in MW2, and then it came to MW3 because of that. And then it was even more noticeable in this game because the movement's faster, and then they had to fix it, and they did. So yeah, good for them.
Yeah.
So anyway, there you go.
By the way, I wanted to take a step back and mention we are not crazy. They did change the blog post. They edited the blog post and removed gloves. I went to our pod from last week when we had the blog post pulled up, and it said you got gloves, boots, and gear for the ninja vest. And now when you go to the blog post, it just says boots and gear. So they did change it.
Yep.
So the blog post was probably just wrong originally. So yeah, that's probably not worth running then because you don't have gloves. And that's because that's what we said last week. You're like, well, why would you not run this when you get everything and then you also just get dead silence by default? Why would you run any other vest? Well, there we go.
Yeah, it was overpowered if you got gloves also.
Extremely, yeah. So
that's probably a good change or good implementation. So yeah. Anyway, moving on. Multiplayer UI X. So this is the UI. I don't know why there's an X there. Whatever. A lot of new features in the UI. I don't care. One new feature that I did notice that is good is that you can look at your weekly challenges now at the same place you can look at your daily challenges. Like when you're in the lobby, you used to have to go to like 8 menus to look at your weekly challenges. Now you just press a button and you can see in the pane in the top left, your daily challenges. You can now switch that to weekly so that you can see what they are to do the 5 to unlock the weekly rewards or whatever. That was one good UI change I noticed. A bunch of other things I don't really care. Detailed stat. Oh, this is nice. I haven't noticed it yet, but detailed stat comparisons are now available for base weapons in the gunsmith. That's cool.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
That's cool.
I haven't used that yet either, but I did hear about that.
Yeah. And then some bug fixes. Cool. Gameplay bug fixes. Players will no longer dive while using the slide only option on controller, and that does impact me, so I'm happy to see that. And then added hybrid option to slide dive behavior for controller. Tap only to slide and tap while holding sprint to dive. So now you can like insta dive if you're sprinting. I don't know who on earth would use this, because if I'm sliding, if I want to like tap to slide, I'm usually sprinting. In fact, I'm always sprinting. So I don't understand exactly what this accomplishes, but it's a new option. Cope likes it, actually. So maybe
I don't understand it either because I don't play on controller.
Yeah.
But every controller player seemed very happy about this. So it's something good for them. So they'll know, I guess. So cool. Make sure to change that in your settings. Also, you probably noticed, because I think by default it changed it, because I know when we first started playing the season, one of them mentioned like, why is there like a delay to my dive or slide or something? It's like, oh, because there's a new setting. So you got to go in and change that. So it changed one of their default settings as well. So pay attention to that.
Go check on your slide dive behavior. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah. Okay. Moving on. Decreased delay before health regen begins from 4 seconds to 3 seconds. That is a big deal for multiplayer. I wish we would have gotten this sooner, but I'm glad we've gotten it now. The health regen delay was too long. So now it's 3 seconds in multiplayer. In addition, the regen rate is faster now. It's 40 hit points per second, or it was 40 HP per second. Now it's 75 HP per second. So in 3 seconds, you'll start regenning, and then inside of 2 seconds, you'll be at full health because you're getting half of your health per second. So the regen starts sooner and it happens faster now. This is way better for multiplayer. Should have always been this way. And that makes not having to... That makes stims a little less attractive in multiplayer, because I always use stims in multi because of that delay being so freaking long. And now it doesn't seem quite as necessary, which is good. So maybe some more variety in the tacticals. But that's good. So there you go. Let's see. Some more bug fixes.
Yeah, so it's 5 seconds to heal from 1 to 150, which was 7.7 before. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a big deal. Some map changes as well.
Spawn changes and whatnot. Yeah.
Decreased the melee lunge distance of all MW3 weapons to align with the MW2 standards. Good. Melee is cringe. Take it out of the game.
And this was noticeable because I was using the TYR on Keep, and you can't compete with that up close when you're on KFAM. So I tried to beat the guy. I'm like, I got no lunge at all. So I was like, okay, now I know. I gotta just drop the gun when I land and look for one instead of trying to melee somebody with it, because there's no point in me shooting anybody with it. I'll just miss. But yeah.
F's in the chat for you specifically. Yeah,
me, the last KBAM player left in the Discord, I guess.
Yeah, the last one. Increased movement speed of all MW2 weapons to align with MW3 standards. That's actually a really big deal that no one is talking about, and that makes me want to go look at TTK charts for MW2 guns, because no one uses MW2 guns in multiplayer or Warzone right now. And that was part of it was for like novelty's sake, but there's no novelty with any of the guns anymore. So now I just want to use the best stuff again. And if they're bringing MW2 weapons into alignment with MW3 standards in terms of movement speed, for example, and handling and other stuff like that, there might be some really good MW2 guns right now that like would be meta in Warzone that no one has looked at because they haven't thought to. And I wonder if this is going to change that.
Yeah,
I would be very curious to see.
I'm not sure. I don't know how the time to kill lines up now with most of those. I know the MW2 SMGs are definitely not as good. I feel like there are some long range guns that have faster theoretical time to kills, but realistic time to kill, I'm not really sure.
Like, how would a boss B from MW2 with like the Jack BFB perform?
A Bass P, the SMG you're talking about?
No, the AR or the battle rifle or whatever.
That's an MW3 gun.
No, because we used it on a Sheikah.
You're talking about a different gun. Cronin Squall? I'm
thinking of the Cronin Squall, but they nerfed the heck out of that, didn't they?
Oh, that gun's awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has a terrible time to kill.
Yeah, I was thinking of the Cronin Squall. Okay, never mind. I don't know. There probably is, like you said, though, an MW2. There may be
something worth trying. Maybe.
LMG, AR, battle rifle, or something that is worth looking at. Because we have new attachments as well.
They decreased the recoil in Warzone for MW2 guns.
Yeah,
I think, or maybe for some of them. Let me see.
Or I don't know about.
We'll get to it when we talk about Warzone. Actually, maybe it wasn't recoil.
But another thing to keep in mind as well is that we didn't have any good optics for MW2 guns, but now we do, because you can use MW3 optics, which is to say the Eagle Eye, on MW2 guns, which was not an option before. So that also makes MW2 guns better. I don't know if it puts them on par with the MW3 long range meta, but that's probably worth looking at some of these MW2 guns, TTKs. I would be very curious to do that.
Okay, yeah, there was no recoil changes. Yeah, no, these movement changes don't matter at all. It was like, so they talk about it specifically in Warzone. For ARs on MW2 guns, increase movement speed while ADSing. So it's just literally ADS strafe speed. That doesn't matter at all. So yeah, this doesn't matter. None of it does. Because they have slow ADS speeds. They have way more visual recoil. They generally have more recoil. You can't even use an Eagle Eye on most of the MW2 guns because of the recoil. So yeah, I don't think there would be.
I think they had changed the aim down sight time of a lot of the MW2 attachments, though. The barrels and the
yeah, maybe,
magazine
but by
attachments.
base.
I think they did that in Season 1 Reloaded.
But the base guns are still so much slower. If you pick up an MW2 ground loop gun in Warzone right now, you'll immediately notice, like, oh my god, the handling is so bad on these.
Interesting. Okay.
So probably still not worth running.
Yeah. Yeah. Something to keep an eye on, though, because if they continue to address MW2 guns, we might see some of those enter the fold again for sure. I actually want to look at charts myself. We'll probably talk about that on Patreon.
Try the STB?
Try the STB again, yeah. Maybe get the STB to work.
That's the first thing Jake said when we started playing the new update. He's like, maybe Rash should try using the STB.
What an idiot.
Dude, I died to it yesterday. Some guy was running it. He was running a custom STV. Yeah, and I died to it. Shout out to that guy.
Shout out to that guy. Or how about like the HCR? The LMG? Put an Eagle Eye on that? Dude, I bet you there's some sleeper MW2 guns, man, for the long range.
I bet you there aren't. I'm going to be honest. I bet you there aren't.
Look at the HCR. Compare it. Because that thing didn't move. And now I can put an Eagle's Eye on it, which I wasn't able to do before.
Well, let's just put it this way. The AMR submachine gun kills 200 milliseconds faster at 75 meters than the HCR does. So.
No, are you serious, man?
Yes. I'm looking at true game data right now. It's slower than an MW3 SMG time to kill at 63 meters. Give it up, man. Just give it up.
Yeah, all right.
They're not fun to use anyways. They all feel awful, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I just wanted to discover
Get them out of the game,
first,
actually.
But anyway.
Yeah, you tried real hard.
Added gun kick control and recoil control benefits in tac stance for all weapons. Oh, I guess they weren't benefiting from those stats in tac stance before this update. Okay. That's kind of a big oversight, but no one uses tac stance. I guess that's why no one noticed. But anyway, moving on. ARs. So here's some weapon balance. So this says multiplayer, but I think this applies to Warzone as well. And then if there's something that's Warzone specific that doesn't apply to multiplayer,
correct,
it'll say so in the Warzone blog post.
Yeah,
so keep in mind,
both.
This does apply to both, yes, unless otherwise stated later. So Holger 556 got nerfed a little bit. The MCW got nerfed as well.
Yeah, that's a multiplayer specific. Well, I mean, it's not multiplayer specific. It's for Warzone also, but they're nerfing it because it's the meta AR
in multiplayer, right? Yeah.
I still don't understand how the MCW is just totally unusable in Warzone.
Yeah.
How do we not make it better in Warzone yet at this point? It'd be a very popular gun. They're making bundles for it too. I just saw 2 or 3 of the bundles in the store right now use the MCW or the up and coming ones. So, I mean, they've got to buff it, right? It's a real shame.
What is the Jack Raven kit for the MCW?
Probably the one that has a smaller mag, like what, a 40 round mag maybe or something.
Is it like a cal
maybe it's
up?
larger caliber? I think it is.
Okay. Because they changed it. They nerfed it for Warzone, basically. So.
Yeah, that's the one that I think JGod always said was a viable secondary in Warzone, actually. Had a lot of recoil, but it hit pretty hard or something. But it was like, on paper, it could be good, but realistically, nobody used it.
Yeah, okay. I see. Yeah, probably just like a small mag. So anyway, they changed it. Yeah, they basically made it worse at range, so that's, yeah, chalked. Boss B, the battle rifle, they nerfed. The Sidewinder, they buffed, but I don't care. It's still terrible. The TAC V from MW2, they buffed a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. The Striker submachine gun, they buffed a little bit. The Jack Etten double barrel for the AMR9, they added a missing hipfire crosshair. Okay. The WSP9, they buffed a bit. Shotguns, they nerfed. Well, they nerfed the Lockwood 680. They buffed the KV broadside from MW2. Oh no. They just they made its sprint-to-fire a little better. And it's ADS time. Don't ADS with the broadside, obviously. It's still not going to be usable. LMGs, here's some interesting ones. The Eradicator. Slower sprint-to-fire, slower ADS time. Still viable, though, probably. And then the Rawl from MW2, they buffed. The Icarus, they buffed a little bit. The RPK, they buffed a little bit. Marksman rifles, I'm not reading these.
This is multiplayer only, actually. Warzone has most of the same guns, but the changes are totally different. Like, they nerfed the broadside in Warzone. So, yeah, this is just strictly multiplayer.
Okay. Yeah, it's very confusing how they do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, okay, whatever. MCW 6.8, they, I don't know, changed. They changed some...
Worst gun in the game, doesn't matter.
They changed some marksman rifles, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Lots of them. Sniper rifles... changed. Yeah. Handguns. Basilisk. That's the Magnum from MW2, right?
Yeah.
They buffed that.
Cool.
Damage range increase allows for one-shot kills to the head at a further distance. There you go. And then melee. Decreased melee lunge distance by 30%.
Oh, no.
For all of the melee weapons. So the knife, the karambit, the knife and all of its reskins. Yeah. Thank goodness. Yeah. God, I hate people that use knives. So that's good. The Jack BFB muzzle. So they nerfed it. It doesn't benefit your recoil quite as much anymore. It has more of an ADS penalty now, more of a sprint-to-fire penalty.
They gutted it, I would say, yeah.
More of a strafe penalty. And then most impactfully, they added an 18% bullet velocity penalty.
Holy.
So that makes it much less attractive for Warzone.
And there are still people using these. In every single lobby I'm in, I see people jacking. And I can't believe it. They didn't read the patch notes. Well, definitely don't use this anymore. That velocity is huge. That was like 200 velocity on a RAM. That makes it pretty bad, man.
I would say if you're playing like Fortune's Keep, it's probably fine. Maybe? I don't know. I'd have to play with it, actually.
Dude, honestly, Fortune's Keep is one of those maps where you would... not want people to know if you're above or below, actually, because that map is so confusing and cluttered. You would actually benefit from using the Jack BFB there, where people wouldn't know if you're above or below, because the way it shows your icon on the minimap.
Oh,
that would actually be
a
good thing for Fortune's Keep.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah. Another thing, too, is like people might, if they want to use like a very high recoil gun that they can't use unless they have a BFB, one option is going to be the BFB plus an ammo type. You could put on like high velocity rounds you could do on like an AR, but then you're only getting velocity. So I would probably rather run high grain ammo because then you still get, I think, some velocity, but you also get some damage range as well. And then you get as a downside increased recoil. But if you're running a BFB, it's probably okay. And then you would offset some of that velocity penalty. Something to keep in mind, but losing 18% velocity is a big deal for this muzzle. So it did get nerfed a lot. Yeah. So Anyway, moving on. Field upgrades come out faster, I guess. Some other changes, whatever. Kill streak changes, whatever. And then M.3 ranked play. So yeah, ranked play came out. There are maps and modes and content restrictions and all of that stuff. And we're not going to go over this.
It's all the same thing they've now shown in 10 blog posts, yeah.
And that's the end of the blog post. So yeah, that is the blog for multiplayer/multiplayer ranked play. Basically the big thing there obviously is the new maps in addition to the new guns. And then we also got, some weapon balance, nothing super drastic in terms of multiplayer. And the biggest thing, well, I'd say the biggest thing is the new guns. But that idle sway and hip fire sway change, very solid change. Very happy to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now let's move on to the Warzone specific patch notes. So we got some other things here. Events. So yeah, that stupid little zombies event, whatever. Battle pass, words, big words.
They talk a lot about Fortune's Keep. Wow.
Yeah, and then a lot of words about Fortune's Keep. So Fortune's Keep, welcome back, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, they talk more about like the extendable bridges and a bunch of things that we've already covered in the blog post. So Tanner and I on Saturday will talk more about Fortune's Keep. And our detailed first impressions. However, in the meantime, I will say this. Actually, Tanner, I need you to hit the appropriate soundboard sound for our first impression of Fortune's Keep.
Which one is that, you think?
I think
that one?
Yeah, I think it's that one, yeah. That's exactly the sound I was thinking. Not looking great.
Yeah, I'm not loving it.
And by not looking great, I mean quite literally, it does not look great for my eyes. Because
bad
it's hard to see
visibility,
people.
Clutter.
Yeah.
The mid area that they blown up sucks. It did just make the map worse, actually, unfortunately. I was thinking it would not, but it made it worse. Sun glare is pretty bad in certain areas, look in certain directions. The frame rate, the performance is awful in certain areas, of course, but that's a bug. They already said they're working on that, so I'm not really counting that against it. Yeah, I don't know. Played my first 3 matches. We won all 3 games, but it just wasn't hitting. None of us were having fun on it for some reason. It feels very different than Ashika and Vondel both.
Yes,
extremely chaotic. 51 players on Fortune's Keep is actually a lot crazier than I remember it being. It is very nuts. Constantly getting landed on, third-partied. Hard to get loadouts. It feels like that again, where the loadout drop is always in an awful spot and it's always out in the open and you can never get it without dying to somebody from across the map.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just kind of an L, I think. Awful visibility around mid and the sun. Again, why do we not just put the sun up high? Urzikstan, amazing visibility. Some of the buildings are dark, and then we get keep, and it's just all bad again.
Yeah,
clutter everywhere, hard to spot people, sun glare, just unnecessary and bad.
Mm-hmm. I have not played enough Fortune's Keep to give like a super solid first impression. By Saturday, I will have. But based on my current experience with it, my biggest gripe is with visibility, although surprisingly, it's not the visibility in buildings that's been bothering me on Fortune's Keep. In fact, that's been pretty good, which is what I was worried about. But what I wasn't worried about ended up being the big problem, which is outside. Sun glare, bad, not good, stop. Super easy to not do that, by the way. Move the sun. It's so easy. It's not a real spot. You can make it whatever time of day you want. So move the sun. But more than that, actually, is like Tanner said, all the clutter everywhere. You just lose people. My very first gunfight, I was outside of a building, and there are just bushes everywhere. It reminded me of that one Cold War map that everyone lost their mind about until they actually changed the map by removing the bushes or trimming them. I forget what it's called. Someone in chat will probably remember. But if I knew Cartel, yeah. I knew there were people in front of me, but with all the bushes, I could barely see them. And it was my first experience post MW 3 of someone being in front of me on my screen in broad daylight that I couldn't see. That has not occurred to me once anywhere else except for this map with all the bushes and stuff. So that was really bad and annoying. Don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. I want to be able to see people so that I can shoot them. It's an FPS game.
Yeah, I don't get why COD insists on ruining visibility on maps. It doesn't add a skill gap. It doesn't add anything fun. Just make it so I can see people like most other games do. Yeah, not a fan of it at all. Yeah, so to me so far, Fortune's Keep has been an L. I've been having a ton of fun. I've been having a ton of fun with the game. I'm just playing big map, and it's been very fun, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fortune's Keep, I don't know. It wasn't hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I kind of remember liking the map more than I did. I don't know. But I think these map changes just strictly made the map worse, unfortunately.
That is broadly the case.
Awful flow. Fortune's Keep has terrible flow. It's hard to chase people down. It's just, there's no flow to it. I was talking to them this morning when we were playing. Rebirth, people like Rebirth so much, and it's a very, very basic map when you think about it. You're in the prison cell, you're fighting some guy, he goes left down this cell, he goes right down that cell, or maybe he goes up above using the one staircase. Keep is okay, this wall's blown up. He just ran through that. Oh, he's mantling up on this rubble and then mantling on the roof. Oh, Smile, this house has a staircase that also leads down to a basement that then leads to water where he's swimming. Awful flow everywhere around it. It's very unpredictable. The fights are not fun. I don't know. I have not had any fun better. And no, it's not better than Vondel at all. It's much worse than Vondel.
Yeah. So I'm going to play it more before Saturday, and we'll do we'll have more to say for our first impressions. Our first impressions are not, by the way, that episode is not going to be only on Fortune's Keep. It's going to be on season 2. But a big part of that obviously is the new map. And it's been pretty disappointing that it is not playing super well. My opinion might change on that if by Saturday, once I play more. But I know my opinion won't change on the visibility being pretty bad because of all the clutter, unless they remove the clutter. There's just no way my stance is going to change on that. And that's a real shame, because that is one of my pet issues in FPS games, is poor visibility. Nothing is worse than having someone you should be able to see whom you cannot see because the game wanted to add bushes or sun glare or other odd mechanics or features that make it harder to see people. It's an FPS game. It's contingent on seeing people. Don't do that. So that's really annoying. And by the way, most people don't like Fortune's Keep or are let down by this, at least according to what I've seen in our Discord and on Twitter as well. People have been they tried it for a couple games and they were like, all right, I'm done. And most of the streamers I'm watching, I mean, some of them are playing Fortune's Keep because they want to play ranked Warzone, but they're not choosing to play Fortune's Keep. They're choosing to play ranked Warzone, and that happens to take place on Fortune's Keep, so they are tolerating it. But they would not be playing Fortune's Keep if they could play ranked Warzone on another map. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Most people are not very happy with the map, which is a shame.
I haven't heard too many good things about it.
Yeah, which is a real shame. But regardless, it's in. So the next section here is on ranked play resurgence. And again, we'll have more to say on Saturday. Nothing new to cover here, I don't think. I think we probably have learned all the things that we didn't really know about that we were speculating on when we covered the blog post. I don't know them personally, but I mean, they are known, obviously, since it's been out. Like, for example, Tanner and I were confused about the what the death fee is. Does that scale? If so, from what to what? If anyone in chat has death fee knowledge, please share it. Not you, Absolute. And then we will let everyone else know. But besides that, I don't think there's really much to cover here.
It is up to -7. That's the max. And there's no max that you can hit. It's just you can't lose more than your deployment fee. So that number that we had heard was like -45 or something. That did just so happen to be like what the deployment fee was or whatever. So they maxed it out. I'm not positive, but they do say in here, death fees do not scale with SR more than 10,000. So the fee is from -2 to -7 from silver to iridescent.
It's a pretty small range.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of makes sense though, because you can die multiple times a game. So
yeah, and then as you get a couple deaths, that I mean having 4 in silver versus 14 in iridescent, that's pretty big.
Yeah, true. So anyway, I think there was one other thing that was actually interesting. You can't use bird's eye in ranked.
Yeah, no
Warzone.
comms vest either.
And you can't get the comms vest either. So if you run Ghost in Warzone, in ranked Warzone, if you're moving, you are pretty much guaranteed to be off radar unless someone, I don't know, killed a zombie lord and got an advanced UAV or something. But besides that, if you have Ghost, you're pretty confident that you're off radar because there's no bird's eye or comms vest. Kind of weird to restrict that, because if you take bird's eye, I think bird's eye is balanced enough by virtue of the fact that if you take it, you can't take Ghost or high alert or something. I don't know.
Didn't they ban bird's eye or remove it from Al Mazrah ranked last year, like in the last season or the last 2 seasons? I thought they did, or maybe in like tournaments they didn't let people run it or something.
Maybe they did.
I feel like they had
and
something
they're just
similar.
Doing that again, yeah. I don't know. I don't feel too strongly either way about it, but
right now I think the meta has kind of shifted from suppressors on a lot of these guns. So like people are showing up on radar anyways. So I think it's like people aren't going to be running Ghost on Resurgence ranked most of the time.
That's probably true too, especially with the BFB now in the game.
Or just certain builds like the meta Ram build. Yeah, they're all loud. I mean, even the last 2 days we've been playing, I see red dots all the time because people's custom guns are loud mostly.
Yeah. So anyway, there you go. And then some more, details that again we've already kind of gone over.
They put out a lot of info. Holy.
Yeah. Oh, here's where they talk about the death fees. Yeah. So it's silver 2 SR per death, and then iridescent top 250 -7. So there you go. And then some deployment fees, and that's pretty much it. Geez, yeah, they go into all the details.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah.
So the reconnect feature is in. You have 4 minutes to reconnect. Wow. Okay, and then we get into some playlist updates, which we're likewise not reading. Luckily, by the way, kudos to Raven. They gave us Fortune's Keep, solos, duos, trios, and quads unranked as well.
I think for 2 weeks straight. Yeah, 2 weeks we have it.
There was some concern about whether or not we would be able to play Fortune's Keep unranked, so that's good that they did that. But yeah, there you go. And then general audio improvements. Okay, I know that we said we were never reading these again.
We did. We said that. We lied.
But this is a special case for reasons we're going to get into. Season 2 will see a continued effort in improving threat-based in-game audio with notable improvements, including ascenders, so repels, audible distance and volume increased. I have not noticed this one way or the other.
I've noticed it.
So it is in fact louder.
It's louder, and you can even tell it's louder because your teammates are very loud when using ascenders now as well. I'll be on another roof in downtown, 40, 50 meters away. There will be a teammate going up one, and I'll be like, who's using a zip? That's so loud. And I look over, and it's my teammate using it. And I think teammate and enemy audio for ascenders seems to be the same. Very loud, noticeable.
Okay, so that is why we're covering this, because we actually noticed these in game. So now I'll read the patch notes to you, because they aren't lies like they most often are when they talk about audio improvements. This is one I did notice. Parachute. Audible distance and volume increased. And it's true. I have been hearing parachutes, and it's been fantastic. I get a rush of nostalgia, like hearing a song I haven't listened to since high school when I hear parachutes, and I'm immediately transported back to Verdansk when they used to make noise. Yeah, it's just crazy. I've been hearing parachutes finally again, and it's so nice. But they did, in fact, increase the distance and volume of parachutes. Have you noticed this as well?
Definitely. Very noticeable. Yeah. Yep.
Super noticeable and good. Removed environmental sounds that could be misconstrued as parachutes. I don't recall ever hearing that, but I guess like a flag waving on a stronghold or something, maybe.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing to do, even though it's not that big of a deal. Reduced enemy parachute occlusion while firing a weapon.
That's massive.
I don't know what that means.
Well, that's like if you're firing an unsuppressed gun, your gun before would drown out the parachute audio. Now it's basically saying the parachute audio will probably have a higher priority, so you'll hear that more often than you're full auto firing a gun, which is what we talked about in one of the Patreon episodes last month when we talked about loud guns. We're like, that's the biggest downside using loud guns is I always get ran up on and landed on. Well, that should happen far less now.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good change as well then. Yeah, really good. And then the enemy redeploy drone. So this is the portable balloon?
Yeah, it's the little, yeah.
Players will now hear the intended VO.
No, it's talking about, yeah, okay, yeah.
When enemies are landing in their vicinity after using a redeployed drone.
That's just any of the balloons.
Okay.
So when somebody hits a balloon and they start landing near you, it'll tell you like there's an enemy landing. I'm going to be honest, I didn't notice this. I saw a lot of people always flying over me, and I don't remember ever hearing notifications.
I feel like this is fake news.
I mean, I was hearing them, but it seemed like it was usually people coming back from Gulag or being bought back. But I mean, I don't know. I guess they just could have been on drones. I don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah, we still need to get better about the announcer telling me someone's landing on me. So here's what I'll say about all this. Very good changes. I'm in favor of literally all of it. However, there is still one thing they need to add as well, which is enemy dive bomb audio. Because one thing good players are going to do when they're parachuting on you is not pull their parachute until the very last second. So even if parachute audio is loud enough now, which I will grant that it probably is, it doesn't really help me when Biffle pulls his parachute 3 nanoseconds before he hits the ground and then is mag dumping me. Because then by the time I hear the parachute and I turn and look, he's already on the ground. I'm already dead, actually. I haven't even had time to turn and look. Because he's going to spend most of his time close to me dive bombing me, not parachuting. If some guy's going to parachute and float over to me like Mary Poppins, that guy's terrible and I'm going to kill him anyway. I don't even need the audio at that point. But good players are not going to give you a bunch of parachute audio time. So I also need player dive bombing to sound like a Scud missile hurtling toward me at the earth. That's the only other audio thing we need that would make me happy with the audio in terms of being dove on. Because I have no faith in the announcer telling me enemy above or whatever. That's never going to work as intended. Fine. But at least let me hear people before they parachute as well if they're falling. That needs to be louder still. But other than that, these are great changes. You should die less often to people diving on you, although it'll still happen because, again, they're still very quiet when they have not parachuted yet. However, zip lines being louder, really good as well, because that was really annoying. They were extremely quiet, and now they are, I guess, not. I haven't noticed it yet, but I'll take your guys' word for it. So, super good changes here. Big kudos there. All right, moving on. The Rogue Signal is a new public event on all modes and maps.
Oh, I didn't know it's on. I thought that was just on Resurgence.
I haven't seen this once, so I don't believe it.
I haven't. Yeah, I think they're lying. Yeah.
I think this is not actually in the game yet because I haven't seen it once.
Well, it's on Keep. I got it like every match I played.
Oh,
Keep,
okay. Yeah.
I haven't seen it on Urzikstan. I don't think it's in Urzikstan. I think they lied.
Yeah. So that's probably just on Keep. And I was really excited about this, and I still am. I just haven't played enough Keep to like engage with it yet, but that's cool. And then the squad wipe streak thing also, which was in the blog post that we talked about. You get a little icon for how many squad wipes you've gotten. There's going to be a new in-season contract called the Eradication Contract. Oh, that's the zombie thing. We already talked about that. The zombie power-ups, blah, blah, blah. And then here are some new details that we did not get in the blog post. All maps and modes in Warzone. Health regen delay. The speed at which you begin to heal after taking damage has been decreased to 6 seconds, down from 7. So that's also really good. The health regen delay used to be 7 seconds, now it's 6. This makes Quick Fix a little less attractive, but 6 seconds, still a very long time. So Quick Fix, still worth using. Not as drastic of a change as multiplayer saw, but I will take it. I still think it's a step in the right direction. And then likewise, the health regen per second, once that regen does start, it goes at 50 health per second you get instead of 40. So, good changes there. Speed up the pace of the game a little bit. I like that. But again, not as drastic as multiplayer's health regen changes. And Quick Fix, I still think, is going to be very good in Warzone. The ground loot's been updated. There are a ton of BP 50s now.
Yeah, there are a lot of them. Far less MW2 guns.
Yeah, far fewer.
The ground loot is just about perfect. Just remove the MCW 6.8. There are like 2 or 3 versions of it. I promise you, devs, I am not once ever picking up that gun when I have a starting pistol. I will use any starting pistol in the game, any other ground loot gun I can find before I use the MCW 6.8. Just get it out. Vault it. Get it out of ground loot, please.
Vault it.
It's awful.
The Danger Zone TAC map notification is now live, where you can see on your mini-map the path of a precision airstrike. I have not been outside of this zone and died to a precision.
I agree. I've been just outside the zone. I'm talking 5-10 meters outside, probably 3 times, and didn't take damage to it. It's crazy, actually. I am very surprised. It seems to be working perfectly as intended. Fantastic change.
Yeah. So that's been working as intended and really well, which is kind of surprising to me. I was expecting to be outside of the zone and die. But it hasn't happened yet. So that's really good. Alongside the above, the distance at which players see the existing warning banner for a precision airstrike has had a range increase. Okay, so this is fake because I was right next to a precision airstrike, and then Tanner was like, hey, watch out. And I looked at my mini-map, and it was right in front of me on the mini-map, and I did not get a notification, a banner notification. So luckily, since Tanner told me, I just like stopped going that way and I was fine. I was barely outside of the danger zone and I survived, which is good, but I should have gotten a banner notification. I was very close to that precision airstrike and I did not get a noti. But at least the map feature exists now. So this is still overall an improvement, But let's be clear, precision airstrike banner radius notification increase is fake news. This is a fake patch note.
Okay.
So keep your eyes on the minimap. The UAV HUD notification is now live as well. So you get the little banner in red around your minimap if you're on UAV. This has been relevant a number of times for us already, where if you're in range of someone and they call a UAV, you get the announcer telling you enemy UAV above or whatever.
Well, not that we've heard, but you're supposed to, yeah.
I've heard it.
On Urzikstan?
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Well, here's what I was going to say. There have been plenty of times, though, where we're moving and all of a sudden my mini-map has the red outline, but I didn't get the announcer noti, which tells me when they popped the UAV, we were not close to them, but we ran into the zone of their UAV.
Yeah.
So now we know someone's here. So that's like we had talked about with the blog post. You get a lot more information, in other words, now that this exists. Because
100%.
If I don't hear the announcer, but my mini map lights up, that means they've called it sooner and then run into me, or I've run into them. But if I do hear the announcer, that means they were already close at the time they popped it. So you get a lot of info. But I'm not aware of, is that, because if you're saying it doesn't happen, are you saying it's bugged or something? Something's bugged here?
I have not once on Urzikstan heard the announcer say there's a UAV. Because we were talking about that when we were playing yesterday before you were on. How we would always see red lines. Like we'd be in an area, we'd be in a building. All of a sudden we'd get the red outline around around our map. So we weren't moving, right? We've been in the same building, like on the roof or whatever. All of a sudden we'd get the red banner, the red square around the mini map. And none of us would ever hear the announcer say anything. I'm not kidding. I don't think once on Urzikstan since season 2 have I heard the announcer say there's a UAV. Not once.
Interesting. Well, I'll pay more attention to that. They could have moved into
the
you,
square
though.
is nice, but also no, because we talked about that. There were definitely multiple times where we were in the same. Oh wait, because you're saying the guy moved towards me. I mean, maybe,
especially
but
with all the balloons.
But the fact that not one
really
time
fast.
have I heard the announcer, I don't know. I don't believe it. But this square, regardless, is massive, and it's way better than just having the announcer, obviously.
Yes.
But I would still love to hear an announcer one time say something.
Yeah.
I would like both at that point. So I don't know if it's bugged on Urzikstan or if I've just gotten unlucky the literally 35 times probably I've seen that red square on my mini map that they just haven't called it when they're within range. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, something to keep our eyes on, but the way it should work, if it is working as intended, then you get a lot of info from this now because it tells you they were close when they called it or not, which is interesting. So either way, overall, I like it.
It's really nice.
Yeah. Next is auto-equip durable gas mask. Players will now auto-equip the durable gas mask over the regular gas mask by default. Oh, I didn't know it didn't do that. That's good to know. Okay. So if you have a regular gas mask on and you buy a durable, it'll now auto-equip, which I guess it didn't do before.
Yeah, you pick up a durable, it'll just, So I guess before it would just throw the durable in your backpack.
Correct, yeah. And now normal gas masks, when this happened, are auto-dropped when you pick up a durable.
Oh, good.
So that's good. That's a good quality of life change, yeah. Redeploy drone ping. The location of the ping icon for the redeploy drone has been moved to the bottom of the ascender to improve player navigation. That makes more sense.
I never really pinged balloons, so I haven't really noticed that. So was it basically a big icon
at the very top
before?
Yeah. Which was dumb. Yeah, because you don't take balloons from the top, otherwise I wouldn't need it. So yeah, having it at the bottom is good. So death location highlight.
This is nice.
The player's death skull icon appears upon redeployment and remains visible until the player is landed. I thought that's always how it worked.
It disappeared faster than that. I think it would disappear when you're landing back or something, but now you hit the ground and it stays for 10 seconds if the player landed near the death icon too. So very easy to find your loot again.
That's good. That's
and
a good
it shows
change
where
then,
your teammates died too longer too. So like when somebody's like, I'm dead, it'll still show you that icon on the map for a while. Or like not on the map, but when you just look that direction, you'll see it there on the ground. Very nice little change.
Yeah. Yeah. Loadout markers and smoke grenades should be easier to spot as ground loot now. So that's good. Auto equip stowed kill streaks.
I didn't notice that. You still don't auto pick up tacticals and lethals.
You don't. Yeah, that's what I was hoping to see, but I already knew it wasn't working.
That's never worked in Warzone 2, so I guess it'll just never work at this point. You still have to manually pick them up when you're out, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. This is good though. Auto equip stowed kill streaks. Players will now auto equip the next available kill streak that is in their backpack if a matching one is not found. Pog. So Tanner like explicitly complained about this like a week or two ago, and now they fixed that. Yeah. So if you have like a UAV equipped and then a precision airstrike in your backpack, if you call the UAV, it will now just auto equip the precision airstrike. Yeah. Whereas before it would only do that if the kill streaks matched, which was dumb.
Yeah,
so this is way, yeah, it was super dumb. So this is way better. Big fan of that. Live ping fade. While players are ADS, live enemy pings will now fade away. Huge change. Put them in a better spot also. That would be even better. But this is nice at least, because now I don't have to bug my teammates to unping things. So this is good. Stow equipped perk pack. Players can now stow their equipped perk pack. Okay, interesting. I would virtually never want to do that, but okay.
If you have a perk pack, can you still stow other perk packs? I've never even tried recently. I don't think you can, right?
Well, you can now, because you can...
But is that literally talking about like just like one, if you don't have one equipped then? Because it's saying like if you have yours equipped, you can now stow it, right? So if I have a perk pack equipped, can I also just stow another one like for a teammate? Can you do that?
Well, I don't know if you could before, but you can now, because what you do, I guess, is stow your currently equipped perk package before you pick up the perks you see on the ground, and then it would equip those. Doesn't let
you for some reason. That's what I'm not positive about. Yeah.
I can't imagine.
I don't see why you would ever do this though.
Yeah, anyways, but either way, it's like it doesn't matter. You like pick up perks for your teammate and then drop them to them. I mean, I guess that's nice, but I don't know. You guys are down bad if you're stowing perks for your teammates, so get better.
Yeah.
Infill flight path now lingers for a while following the start of a match. This is a good change too, actually. The reason this is good is because once you like drop out of the plane or whatever, you can be like, wait, where are people going to be? If you want to like go find people or avoid them, I guess you can open your map now and see where the flight path was, so you can anticipate
I didn't notice
where
that.
people are going to be. That's a good little change. Not super relevant for most people most of the time, but it is nice to have. Urzikstan, buy station shuffle. Buy station locations across Urzikstan have been updated to refresh the gameplay loop and combat scenarios, but the number of buys is unchanged. So buy stations are still static. They are just now static in different spots on Urzikstan to change things up a little bit. I need to get used to it, and it's a little annoying not being used to it anymore, but I like the idea.
That's what keeps it fresh though. Yeah, because you're not used to it. After having this now, I would like them to do this at the start of every season.
I agree.
That's something like almost as drastic, surprisingly, as just like small map changes like we wish we got every season. Just changing that totally changes how everything plays a lot. I mean, landing spots, certain buildings get better. Where you fight just totally changes.
How often you'll hit certain balloons. Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually a really interesting change. And it does change the combat scenarios a lot. I'm a big fan of this.
Exactly. Yeah. It's an easy way to really mix up where gunfights will often take place.
Very easy. Yeah.
Or
I
where
hope
people
they keep
even
this
drop.
up when they do it every season. Yep.
Yeah. It's and again, it's annoying. Like I used to know where buys were. Now I don't. So that's like kind of annoying, but it's the same for everyone. So like, and it's worth it. It's worth it. And it's such an easy thing for them to do that has such a big impact that I think it's a smart idea. Yeah. Gulag loadouts. So now we're getting to some negatives here. Updated the weapon builds for all weapons in the Gulag.
Here's what they should have said. Added a lightsaber laser on every single Gulag gun in the Gulag. Not great, man.
Yeah. I mean,
it just gives away positions. Now, know what I do now? I just stand and literally ADS at a wall in front of me, and I just sound whore the guy, wait till I hear him coming, or I just see his bright ass laser, and then I kill him. It's really bad.
Terrible.
It's it's a really, really awful change.
Literally every gun. I have not gone to the Gulag and not had
I agree.
A military grade spotlight attached to my weapon.
Yeah.
So it's really,
I haven't seen anyone
really
that likes
trash.
This is a really bad,
terrible,
change.
Awful change. I don't know the reasoning behind it. And it's obviously intentional because it's on every single gun, including your secondary. You can't get away from it. Your secondary also has one. It's a joke. This is really dumb and bad and not good. I would almost take the Sidewinder again.
Ooh.
Almost.
Yeah. See, that's the issue is the guns are pretty good. Just get rid of the bright lasers on all of them, right? There's one that may not have there's a secondary Lockwood 680, I think with one of the Rams, maybe.
Okay.
I wonder if that one has a laser. Does that one have a laser? That may be literally the only one.
I've tried switching to secondaries and they always have lasers, dude.
Yeah. I know the handguns do. Yep.
It's really trash and bad and not good. And I want to know why they did it, but I
don't like it.
So
not a fan.
It just makes everyone camp.
Yes, it makes the Gulag ratty.
If you push with this giant laser, you're just asking to die. It's super
You're
dumb.
punished for moving, yeah. Because even as you run, even if you're not ADSing, your laser's like swaying around.
It's miserable.
The person can spot that easily.
Yeah. So L change there. But,
L change, L Raven.
Here's back to W's here. Decrease the chance for portable radars and suppression mines to appear in ground loot by 30%. This was needed. There were so many portable radars. That was one of our tips, in fact, was pick them up and stow them also because they're really good and they're extremely common. They were way too common. So now they are still definitely around, but they're less common. This is a good change.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Champions Quest, okay.
Champions Quest, the new contract. Progress will be reset at the launch of Season 2. Okay. And then some other changes. Yeah. So, not reading. Resurgence, all maps. The Gulag token has been removed from Resurgence loot tables. Okay, yeah. I remember us laughing about that.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Vondel. Dynamic fog system. We've removed the fog. Just kidding. The fog will now only be present in 8% of games instead of a quarter of them. Okay. If it's going to be in 8% of games, why have it at all? Just take it out. Come on, man. But I guess it used to be 24% according to this blog post. It was probably skill-based fog, to be clear, because I saw it a lot more than 24% of the time, but okay. So now we'll see it 8% of the time. Not 10%, but 8%. Okay. Cool, man. Loot density. In the smaller or more dense POIs, the loot density has decreased on Vondel as well. Okay. I don't know. I have nothing to add to that. And then next is weapons. So again, they talk about the idle sway and hip fire sway thing, which is the same thing they already said. The new weapons, they also said. So they're just repeating themselves. Yeah. A lot of repeats here.
A lot of repeats, buddy. Yep.
Okay. And then, general weapon adjustments. We've reduced the recoil on all weapons while using them in tac stance, just like they did in multiplayer. A number of improvements have been made to MW2 guns. So for ARs, increased movement speed while ADSing. Oh, this is the same for all of them. So all MW2 guns now have increased movement speed while aiming down sight and crouched. Okay. Don't care. Barely care, I should say. I care a tiny bit, but yeah, not enough. We need more. So, moving on to some more weapon balance. The Ram 7, mid damage reduced to 24 from 28. Minimum damage, the important number, reduced to 22 from 25. So, I'm still seeing people use it, but I think the MTZ 762 has become the next, or the current meta loud AR primary in Warzone. But according to Tanner, the Ram 7 is
maybe
still
on
usable.
maybe on Resurgence or something. I haven't seen too many people running the MTZ 762 on big map, but
The 30
a lot of people are
round
still
mag
using the
hurts it a
Ram.
lot.
Oh yeah. A lot of people still using the Ram. I mean, mostly everybody's still using it. It feels almost identical when I used it. So I'm very interested to see how the actual time to kill will have changed, because it doesn't feel like it changed a lot. I mean, like, without looking at stats, it feels like the time to kill is like at the most 50 milliseconds slower. But I don't know. I think it's hard to tell too, because you hit every single shot with the Ram, because it's the recoil is so easy to control that it just feels very satisfying. And since you're hitting all those shots, it feels like you're getting a fast time to kill.
Yeah.
Always. So I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure either. I am not sure either. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. I've seen it still, but moving on. MCW was nerfed. Don't use it in Warzone. The Holger 556, 10 millisecond faster ADS time, doesn't matter. The TR-76 Geist from MW2.
Slower ADS time.
Which is what I said.
Yeah.
Headshot damage modifier is 1.25 instead of 1.3 for the Geist. The upper torso modifier was increased to 1.15 from 1.05. And then the arm and hand damage modifier is now 1.15 instead of 0.96. So the reason they're looking at this, by the way, is because this is in the ground loot pool now.
Yeah, and that it's pretty good up close as ground loot. I actually like it.
Yeah.
For like close to mid-range engagements.
And it did get buffed overall. I mean, the only thing that changed that got nerfed was the headshot modifier, but it got reduced by 0.05. Not that bad.
That's not noticeable.
And when you compare it to the other two, it's overall buffed, I would say. So that's interesting. Battle rifles, the Boss B was nerfed a little bit. The MTZ 762 semi-auto damage override has been removed. The weapon now does the same damage in semi-autos as it does in automatic. And then the Sidewinder, I refuse to read. It's still terrible and unusable. The HRM9, the SMG, max damage range 12.9 meters down from 16.5. This is a good change. Still a very good gun, but it had like everything going for it and a long first damage range, which Tanner and I remember. We even said this. Why it has everything.
It didn't make
Does
sense.
It also
it
need
was
this?
Yeah, it was like the best at everything. It's got like, I mean, instant ADS time, instant sprint to fire. So this is still really, really, really good. Anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
That's still what I've been running, and I love it.
Yeah. So, the WSP9 as well was buffed a lot. Well, its damage ranges were buffed a lot. So its first damage range is 18 instead of 16.5. That's not a lot. Never mind. Near mid damage, its second damage range though, 26.7 meters up from 22.9. I have not seen anyone use this, which implies to me that it's terrible. But that is a very long first. Well, that's a pretty long first damage range. It's trash. Probably.
The thing with that is you have to, I mean, awful irons, so you're kind of forced to run a optic, in my opinion. Doesn't it also have a pretty bad open bolt delay? Pretty sure it does.
Oh,
so that's
maybe
the other
that's
thing,
what it
is the
is.
open
Yeah.
bolt delay.
Yep.
Plus, nothing changed. Like, the actual damage didn't change up close. It's got a slower fire rate, so you miss one bullet, you're going to lose to an HRM, a Striker 9, an AMR 9. So just a little bit more difficulties. I see what they're trying to do, though. Kind of seems like they're trying to make it the long-range SMG option. But, I mean, at longer ranges with that fire rate, yeah, and at longer ranges with that fire rate, that's going to be even harder. You're going to miss a lot more shots. So, I don't know.
Yeah. So, we'll see how that goes, but I don't think it's going to be entering the meta anytime soon.
I think there are like 3 other SMGs I would use before that. Yeah, the HRM, AMR 9, and the Striker 9. Even the Striker 45 I'd probably personally use.
Yeah. So, there you go. And then moving on, shotguns were all just gutted.
Mm-hmm.
Not that anyone was using them anyway. So, okay. The Polemyot conversion kit was nerfed again. Okay. The Evolvery, the new LMG, was buffed. Max damage increased to 34 from 26. So that's going to do a lot better up close, but you're not really using that up close very often. And the max damage range was reduced to offset that a little bit, I guess, to 30.5 meters. Actually, 30.5 meter first damage range before any attachments, you're probably looking at like a 38 meter first damage range with attachments, maybe even 40.
Probably at least. I would say with the barrel and suppressor, I bet that's like at least 40.
That
if
makes
it's starting
this
at 30.
Yeah, you're gonna see a couple gunfights within that range in Warzone, and it's gonna be doing 34 damage instead of 26. So it got buffed a lot. And the most important stat, minimum damage, which is the farthest damage range when you're shooting people far away, used to be 20 and now it's 26, which is a huge buff. Now, to be clear, I've not seen a single person using this yet, but I haven't looked at the numbers yet. I'm curious what they would be, but the gun does not have any recoil. So this is a very big buff. I'd be curious to see what it's like. And maybe by Saturday we'll know more about the meta, because if this is in fact going to be good, people will figure it out by Saturday, probably.
I know Lag tried it and said it was terrible, because you have to remember too, it was maybe the most unusable long-range gun in Warzone prior to this update, because remember we looked at it and we're laughing because its longest range time to kill was like 1,300 milliseconds, which is like far and away the slowest of any primary gun, basically.
Yes.
MW2 guns, MW3 guns. So this probably just puts it more... It's probably going to fall outside the meta still, I would guess. And I don't want it to be meta. Stop making LMGs good. Make them all terrible.
Yeah.
Buff ARs.
Yeah. So, anyway. The Eradicator... little changes there, a couple other little changes, nothing to TTK, just some handling changes. And then marksman rifles, it doesn't matter. None of them are good.
Changing hip fire spread on marksman rifles. Okay.
The crossbow was buffed. Wow. The MW2 crossbow. So be careful. The XRK Stalker sniper rifle, now one shot downs to the head within its max damage range, which is 50.8 meters without any attachments. And you were using this a little bit, huh?
No, I was using a ground loot one.
Got it.
So yeah, I was using a ground loot one, but I don't know what attachments it had on it.
Got it.
Yeah, so according to JGod, with a suppressor, I guess there's a new suppressor for it. I haven't looked at it. Unfortunately, my Stalker is like level 3 or something because I never leveled it before. So I think there's a new suppressor, he said, and with the barrel, you can get this to one shot at about 70 to 75 meters. Here's my take. That's not good enough on Urzikstan. I'm constantly shooting at people that are more than 200 meters away.
Yeah.
Like constantly. That is like the vast majority of my snipes with a cat on Urzikstan are way further distance than 70 meters. So I personally would not ever run this unless I'm playing like insanely aggressive, but I don't think like you're just playing stupid aggressive at that point, in my opinion. It also has a ton of bullet drop. I noticed that from losing the ground.
Oh, really?
I mean, crazy bad bullet drop. Now, it has really good velocity, so maybe that build was just, I mean, base everything, because I know you can get the velocity like, I think it's 1500 or so.
That's oh yeah, it was more than the cat. I remember
it was, yeah. So I don't know. And then the thing is too, with like on paper, it could be good for resurgence, but I don't know. The movement's too fast now. The flinch, players are too good. Players don't miss shots. Even in resurgence, I don't think you can get away with using these anymore. Honestly, I'm glad they added this like out to 70 meters, but you're at a disadvantage if you're trying to use this in resurgence too. And on Urzikstan, it's just not enough. That's not enough range at all.
Yeah, I basically agree. Urzikstan,
it's very fun, don't get me wrong, but it's not. The cat's just better on big map every single time.
Yeah, exactly. On Fortune's Keep though, or Resurgence rather, I could see us being good on some of the maps. Because keep in mind, we have more Resurgence maps than just Fortune's Keep. Fortune's Keep is one of them. We have Vondel. We have Ashika.
Vondel,
and then we have the 3 Urzikstan maps. So like if you put like a little eagle eye on this, build it for like max aim down sight speed, get a little crazy, I think it could be fun and potentially viable in Resurgence, unranked, because it doesn't one-shot in ranked, unfortunately. Nothing does. But I'm not like super confident in that. That's something I will at some point try.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think it's just Keep. How I was kind of saying Keep has no flow and there's so much clutter. I don't think sniping on Fortune's Keep is ever the play, but you're right. On like Vondel and Ashika, actually, it could probably be pretty viable, and especially when Rebirth comes out. But currently, with what we're dealing with, I'm not going to use it most of the time. But
yeah,
maybe something fun to mess around with on Vondel. Yeah.
I think on Vondel it could be quite good, actually, because there are a lot of gunfights like rooftop to rooftop where you're well inside of like 70 meters.
Yeah, that are probably like at the 50, 60 meter range or something too.
Yeah, that could be fun. So something to keep in mind there. But yeah, so now there are 2 guns that can one-shot in Warzone. So there you go. And then a couple other sniper changes I'm not going to read. Handgun changes as well. Don't care. And then the lunge distance, likewise 30% lower for all the knife skins. And then the same BFB benefit, nerf, basically, including the 18% bullet velocity penalty. Perks. Several perk descriptions have been updated for clarity. The spacing of perks located on the HUD has been increased for more separation between them in the tac stance indicator. Okay, good. Flex perk. So Tanner has a lot to say on this. Revised audio levels while equipped. So flex sounds different, and you're a fan of it, right?
So if you guys
noticed this before reading this patch note.
No, I had looked at the patch notes. I knew they changed something with flex, but I went back and I looked to see exactly what they did to make sure I wasn't crazy. So basically, the issue with flex before, my biggest issue was going from having really loud audio on everything until you equipped your perk package of flex, and then it just muted everything. So everything got like very, very quiet, so much that I would usually turn up my volume slider when I had flex equipped. And I didn't like going back and forth between the two, basically having flex and not, because the overall, it was pretty much like lowering your system volume from 100 to 75 every time you picked up flex. And that bugged me. That was like jarring. Now it no longer does that. So you have the same level of overall audio, but you definitely just hear footsteps way more clearly and further away. And it like muffles your own footsteps and stuff too. It seems like, excellent, massive change. I'm fully on board the flex perk now. I've dropped high alert. I'm hearing footsteps all over the place constantly. I mean, constantly. Like in other buildings, like Jake had talked about, like a building 30, 40 meters away, like so loud that I think somebody's in my building. And then one of my teammates is pushing and they're like, oh no, they're in this building actually. I'm like, dude, it sounds like they're below me. And they're 40 meters away running on wood in a staircase. Insane. Definitely give Flex a shot if you haven't yet. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Love this change.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely sounds different. I used it a little bit, not a ton, because we wanted someone running high alert on our team. So I opted for that. But it does sound better. It sounds more similar to how it sounds without Flex, but it still offers you all the upsides Flex used to offer you as well.
Exactly.
Which doesn't sound possible, but it is. So it's improved. It's better now. Yeah. It's less jarring picking it up, which is good.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah. Irradiated got buffed as well, which it needed to. I remember I tried it and it was just a joke. It now reduces gas damage you take by 20% instead of 10%. So this goes in the same slot as double time. This is a perk 1.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
I remember the calculus being, would I rather use double time or irradiated? Well, double time is just going to get me out of gas faster. It's probably going to actually save me more health than the 10% from irradiated does. That might not be true anymore because now it's 20% less gas damage. Almost maybe worth looking at, especially in conjunction with the next benefit, allows players to plate while in the gas, which you currently can't do because every time you take damage, it just cancels the animation. That's pretty interesting. And then they write a lot of words about it. Is it ultimately worth it over sleight of hand or double time?
Or Mountaineer or other perks?
Probably not on big map, but maybe on like one of the resurgence maps where you're not really like needing double time. Like for example, on Vondel, I'm like on a rooftop so often, unless there's a perk that gives me increased parachute speed, I don't know if I'm going to miss double time very much. So irradiated like might be interesting there. And if you're stuck in a building on Vondel, you're going to be like artificially trapped in gas a lot longer than you would be on another map. It's like, oh, zone is only 10 meters away. It's like, yeah, but you're in the middle of a building. So you have to go up or down the staircase. That happens more to me on Vondel than anywhere else. So like maybe I would look at this on Vondel or something, but I don't know. But
on Vondel, I'm just running Mountaineer and Sleight of Hand. So I don't think there's
Isn't Mountaineer a perk 3?
No, it's perk 1.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, maybe that's true then, yeah. I don't know. So still probably not worth running, but it did need a buff, so I don't know. Something to look into.
Yeah, definitely need a buff.
Battle Hardened will now show the resist icon for the killstreak owner when a player resists the Guardian. Okay.
I wish you didn't read that.
Yeah, I shouldn't have. Quick Fix will now correctly begin regenning health when the player inserts a plate. True. This is working 100% as intended now.
Yeah, I use Quick Fix, yeah.
Shrouded, the deployed smoke grenade has a slightly randomized offset, so it's not deployed directly on top of the player.
That's smart. That makes that a lot better.
Yeah, because otherwise you just shoot right in the middle of the smoke and you know they're there. Yeah, so that's good. Claymores were bugged, and now they're not. So, okay. C4s can now be thrown slightly farther. Okay. Breacher drones were nerfed more. Okay. Frag grenades were zooted. Close damage is 275 up from 250. Keep in mind your health is 300. Mid damage buffed 150 to 200. And then far damage. So the minimum you can take from a frag grenade used to be 105 damage. Now it's 175. These were buffed a lot, and people are using them.
They're so good.
People do
pretty
be
much
fragging.
everybody. Yeah, that's the meta. If you want to know what the meta is in Season 2 of Warzone, it is simply the frag grenade. I mean, 175 damage. So you get within range of damaging somebody with the frag. All of their plates are gone, and their base health is lowered from one frag at the maximum distance away from that person. That's pretty good, man. I've gotten a lot of kills with them, a lot of cracks. They're insane. Highly recommend them. Highly recommend them.
Something that didn't change with this patch, but was always true and is now more relevant, is frag grenade explosive radius is big. You can you can be pretty off and still get hit markers with frags. So they are very good for, if you can place them, for getting people to move their characters. Especially now, because it's even more dangerous.
And you throw them so far.
Yeah. And you can cook them.
They come out of your hand.
They're frankly a little too strong now, I think.
This did not need this. Maybe some of these changes needed to happen, but like the far damage going from 105 to 175, that I think is a little unnecessary and extreme. Yeah. They're too good. I would be surprised if we don't see these nerfs sometime this season.
Yeah.
They're far and away the best lethal now. It was always kind of, maybe breacher drone. That was good for a while. Then it's like, Semtex or frag. But now, I mean, frags are so much better. So much better.
Yeah. So there you go. Gas mask health was reduced a little bit, so they'll last not quite as long. So.
Oh wow.
Interesting change there.
I didn't notice that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then some bug fixes. Let's see.
So there's one on here that I know is fake news that I need to find and point out. Okay, here it is. The very last one. Fixed an issue causing black site keys to spawn when there is no black site available. Fake news L patch note.
Well,
this is not true.
They're spawning when the black site was available when it spawned. Oh, wait, no, it wasn't. The game after it wasn't available. Oh, no, it makes one for you.
I don't think that's what they mean, though, but maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm reading this as black site keys are spawning when there is no stronghold event, because that's how it's currently working. But maybe that's not what they mean. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, we were able to get a key and enter a black site even though there was no stronghold event. So that is possibly intentional.
Yeah, we don't know. That's a
which I don't like, by the way. Yeah. Because like these random kids got a black site key and farmed us because they got the black site because they happened to have found a key, even though there wasn't even a stronghold
event. And they were right
event.
next to it.
Yeah. So like that was pretty cringe.
There's the Juggernaut in there and everything.
Yeah, so we were getting third-partied by AI, and then we got out actually.
Yeah,
but then we also got
I mean,
third-partied. It was a whole disaster. But anyway, yeah, we did get away. So anyway, that's it. There were a ton of other bug fixes, by the way, but I'm not reading any of them. So yeah. So overall, Tanner, Season 2 patch notes.
W Raven.
Yep.
W season so far.
W season, W Raven. Yep. Yeah.
Even with me being let down by Fortune's Keep, I'm sure a lot of people enjoy it. Good for you. I'm having a blast this season. I think it's very fun. Just the little things. Yeah, like changing the locations of the buy stations, that actually changes the flow of the big map so much. I really hope they keep that up every season. Yeah. Such a minor thing that helps a lot. And the cat got nerfed earlier in Season 1. Doesn't matter to me. If you're in my lobby, I'm sniping you, right? It's that simple. Don't try to snipe against me. Some people made that mistake. I got him. Don't worry. I took care of it. I mean, sniping has been so much fun. It does not even feel nerfed at all anymore.
Yeah.
Hitting all the shots. So if you're complaining about it being nerfed, L skill issue. It's insane.
It's a skill issue. Yeah. 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 Overall, like you said, I think it's like, if you're looking for like a bunch of big things we got with Season 2, I mean, we did get Fortune's Keep, which is a big thing.
Yeah.
So
ranked
resurgence. So, but if those aren't doing it for you, we got a lot of really good little things, like the audio changes, huge change. Shuffling the buy stations, huge change. Getting the precision airstrike noti, huge change. The flex perk update, huge change. We got a lot of like little kind of quality of life things that are really good. And when you add them all together, it makes the game a lot more fun. The idle sway aim thing too, that they fixed. Like there were a bunch of little quality of life changes that needed to happen that we got, in addition to big changes like Fortune's Keep and Ranked Resurgence and like the new public event. There's a lot of good stuff in here. I'm a big fan of it. And the only thing I am curious about is what we will settle on for a long range meta. Because I would love for a silenceable gun to be viable. And I don't know if that's going to be the case.
Bro's so scared to be on the minimap.
I'm terrified.
You're on the toy now. Let people push you. You want to be loud.
Yeah, that's true. I should put on a BFB even though I don't need it. Just to get people to come and find me. Yeah, pick up most wanteds. Overall, huge patch though. Very good. And I'm very pleased with things I didn't expect to be pleased by because they were a surprise to me because they weren't in the blog post, like the audio change and the idle sway change. And then I was let down by something I was hoping to be excited about, which is Fortune's Keep, because there are too many bushes and clutter. So we will have more to say on season 2 on Saturday, but we do have a couple of other little things to discuss. Here, first of all, there's a quick little tweet here from Sledgehammer. In case it wasn't clear to you what we meant with the idle sway changes, Sledgehammer actually put out a tweet. So you can go to Sledgehammer's Twitter if you want to see what we were talking about when we were discussing this. But here's a little before and after video they made, and you can go look at this yourself, but we're showing it on the podcast now if you want to do it that way. This is the idle sway before, and then that's after. So this is like noticeably different.
Yeah.
It doesn't start swaying instantly, which is the most noticeable thing for me. So if you're aiming at someone in hip fire and then you ADS, you'll kill them. So yeah, really good change there.
Wherever that dot is, when you ADS, your optic will be directly on that, whereas before it would still be basically swaying as you ADS. So when you actually are fully ADS, you would not be on target.
Yeah,
be slightly off.
And then they do the hip fire example, and then that's the video. So, and they built a gun with the hip fire one to really dramatically demonstrate how bad it was, but it's gone now. So yeah, again, big, huge W changes there.
W Sledgehammer, W Raven, yeah.
And then also one other little thing here from COD updates. We are aware of concerns regarding performance on Fortune's Keep and are investigating the issue. So yeah, people are getting like massive frame drops in certain areas of the map. They'll fix it. This is like a bug or something.
There's another one they just put out. They're investigating an issue causing eliminated players to drop fewer armor plates than intended.
Oh yeah, good. That was something.
So Metaphor pointed that out. I guess before on like Urzikstan, you got somebody, you would have 3 plate, or you would be able to loot 3 plates off them every time. And I guess that's not guaranteed anymore. So like I killed a guy earlier and he had 0 plates. That was the one time I specifically noticed it. So
yeah.
So that's kind of leading to less overall plates, I guess. But the boxes are so common. The ground loot is still unchanged, so you still find a bunch of plates everywhere. It's just players can drop less now.
Right. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So now moving on to news and upcoming changes. Not really too much to talk about here, but what is this first little item, Tanner?
So first thing from Charlie Intel, data miners have found numerous references in the game files now that say S3_Rebirth, meaning Rebirth Island could be coming back in season 3. However, Charlie Intel did tweet this, but I did see a couple leakers I follow that were like, they literally could just be using the word Rebirth for season 3, because there were also a bunch of things in the files that were S5 underscore Rebirth or like Rebirth Island or something.
Right.
I feel like that would make more sense, honestly. So it'd be weird to get Keep and Rebirth in back-to-back seasons from their perspective because they want to drip feed the content. Season 5 is way too late to be getting Rebirth, in my opinion, but it makes way more sense to get that in Season 4 or 5 for the way that Call of Duty releases content rather than getting Keep Season 2 and Rebirth Season 3. So I don't think we are getting Rebirth in Season 3, but just wanted to point that out because Charlie Intel tweeted about it. I really doubt that.
Yeah, I kind of doubt it too.
Dripping that way, yeah.
And that, again, the evidence for this is only that data miners found S3 underscore Rebirth in files. So, like, you know, for example, they could have planned this a year ago, and that's why that's the file name, and then they changed the plan. They're not going to change the file name. Like, if that's even what it means, like, I don't know, who knows. But I would be surprised as well. Like, we get a whole new map Season 2 and then another one Season 3. I wouldn't be that surprised if we did get it, to be fair, but I don't know. It seems awfully soon.
What is that one game you've been playing, by the way? Is it Warhammer?
Rogue Trader.
Oh, okay, because there's some Warhammer
40K Rogue Trader.
Okay, there's a Warhammer 40K event coming next season or in March too. I saw
really
talk about that. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
There's a bunch of events doing Dune. There are still so many leaks that I see every day, but it's like we just don't talk about them on the pod anymore.
Yeah, because who cares?
There are a lot of things.
They're operator skins, like,
and then a lot of it doesn't end up being true. Because I was just trying to see if this guy tweeted about Rebirth. I don't remember where I saw it, but anyways.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe we'll get Rebirth. You know what though? We're also going to be. Oh no, never mind. Yeah, I don't know. I think Season 3 is a little unlikely, but they already teased Specialist. I don't know. I could see it going either way. We'll see. We'll keep you guys posted. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Whatever. Cool.
Let's see what else. Oh yeah. So Microsoft purchased Activision, of course. And now they're closing Toys for Bob Studio.
RIP.
So they're, maybe not closing them, but they did lay off 86 people from the studio, and then also they're closing the office in Southern California here. So Toys for Bob could be done.
Well, that was already a small studio. How many employees do they have left?
Yeah, there's not many left, if any. So yeah, it sounds like they're done. So again, I do feel bad for those people who wanted so badly to not have Robert Kotick own the company anymore, and now it gets sold to Activision or to Microsoft, and they just lay everybody off and close your whole studio down. I mean, that's got to feel bad being like, yes, Microsoft's buying us. 3 months later, you don't have a job and your studio doesn't exist anymore. So that sucks. But
RIP.
I mean, if you thought any different, just remember that's how it goes. They're all evil, right? If you're gonna say one is evil, they're all evil. But anyways.
Yeah. F's in the chat for them.
Shout out to Figurines for Robert. Yeah, GG's. And the last thing here from Insider Gaming, Tom Henderson, Call of Duty to embrace open world campaigns in Black Ops, Gulf War, and beyond.
Wow.
So COD is set to embrace an open world campaign. It won't be the first time in the series we've seen an open world-esque campaign, though, as the glimpse of what such a campaign could look like was first explored with MW3. However, sources explain that unlike MW3, Gulf War's campaign has been built from the ground up rather than using assets from previous entries. So currently, the game's open world will see the player and their squad and navigate the map, more similar to like a Far Cry actual open world game, not open combat missions, but more you have a big open map, go here, start this campaign, do whatever you want. So it's kind of like not as linear, like you can get vehicles and travel to a different area on the big open map, some sort of fast travel system. So could be interesting, but at the end of the day, it's a COD campaign where the story's going to be like 10 hours long. So don't fully understand it unless they're trying to do a lot more with it. The only thing I could see is maybe they actually do online campaign co-op with this open world. That would be the only
reason that I get even remotely excited about this, because keep in mind, they also said there were like open world campaign missions in MW3. And they were, I mean, sorta like, I guess you can run around in whatever order you want and then go to the thing and do it. But it was a lot less dramatic, impactful, or groundbreaking than it kind of sounded like on paper, because it was ultimately still a COD campaign mission. And I expect that is what this will be as well. It'll be the same open world type of missions that we got with MW3, and they might be a little more open and have vehicles also. Who cares? It doesn't really matter. And even if it was super cool and open world, it's still just a COD campaign mission, which is a total of, the whole campaign's like, 10 hours. So the open world missions, if it's half of them, that's like 5 hours of gameplay. Cool, but who cares? I don't know. I'm playing, multiplayer in Warzone. Give me early access still, and then I'll play your campaign also. But it doesn't really matter either way. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Cool.
Cool indeed. All right, that's it, boys and girls. Hope you enjoyed. We will be back on Saturday for our first impressions, and we have a lot to say. We will have even more to say by the time that episode rolls around on Saturday. And hey, take it easy. Stay humble.
Stay humble.